one of the more kind of obvious comparisons that I thought might be worth kind of looking at before this guitar goes back, because it has a fault at the back with the finishing of the neck, so I'm going to get this one returned. In any case, the actual playing of the guitar itself as an example is pretty good.
This channel is supported by Fire. Fire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
So this is the Fender Player 2, which is kind of pretty much brand new. The key things that have happened that they've changed with this is that they've got the kind of more classic style vintage tuners. I think they call them classic gear. And they've gone back to having a rosewood fretboard, which I think a lot of people will be happy with, and rolled fretboard edges, which is kind of subtle. You'll feel it in your hand, I think, but you won't see it. Whereas on the Sire, you can actually quite clearly see that the fretboard is a little bit more rolled. Now, you'd think these guitars are a little bit more similar than they end up actually being. So both of them have 2-point trems. Both of them have single coils. But I think the feeling of the Sire in the hand is very much more like sort of a super Strat. It feels to me, especially up at the dusty end of the fretboard, is where you get... It just feels like there's more space up there, partly due to the neck join. And I think they've nabbed that off of Suhr. But it's a really, really nice feeling neck join. I guess also that the whether or not actual roasted maple is a premium feature anymore, I'm not sure. Is it a way to use less mature wood? I'm not entirely sure or convinced either way, but it does certainly look pretty stunning, and especially with the dark rosewood fretboard. And I think it is rosewood fretboard, but it just looks pretty quality from that regard. Whereas I guess this side of the guitar with your anodized pickguard and the plastics, I don't think that necessarily looks quite as quality as what you get with the Fender. And at this point for me, like, especially seeing this particular colour, there can be no doubt that at this price range, I don't think you get a better looking guitar for this kind of money. This is a £700 guitar. The Sire is about 500, a bit less than that. They both weigh at the upper end of £7. I think this was £7.11. I'll put up what the Sire was because I can't remember at this point. The Fender definitely feels a little bit more constricted up here. And something, it maybe even be like a fret neck angle thing where the Sire kind of just feels more free to play up at the higher end of the fretboard. I guess a point to make in terms of, you know, whether they roast necks to make them look like slightly more quality wood. Something that Fender and Squier do across the whole range is tint the actual finish, the lacquer that they put on here. And you can kind of see that it's actually, because where this lacquer is coming away a bit, there's actually far less kind of nice quality looking wood. It's actually quite pale maple if you don't have that finish on it. So roasting or putting a tint on the neck finish, either way I guess is acceptable, kind of in it was acceptable in the guitar world. For one thing that I'm feeling with this guitar, so the neck is to me, something about this neck feels like the string spacing is a bit wider. I'm going to need to check the specs. And it sort of feels like by the time you get up here, yeah, you're just more free up here. I did a gig with this guitar. It does feel really comfortable in the hand gigging. And I think the Fender, if you're going for something that maybe has more of that Stratty vibe, I think this neck pickup has a bit more of it. This guitar does have that sitar thing going on as well. I don't know if that's a high fret or something vibrating. So it's definitely not perfect. But I could definitely see either guitar, to me, seems like a really good option. If you're going to be kind of more purist about it, you know, this is not a 60s Strat, but it kind of does look the part. And Mexican made, yes, but I think there are going to be some really good examples of this guitar, and I think they look fantastic. And the pickups to me are going to be a little bit more vintage voiced than the Sire equivalents. Yeah, in terms of hardware, this has like a push in with an Allen key. This is a screw in. This has your locking tuners on the Sire. These are pretty good quality feeling classic gear tuners on the Fender. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments if you have a particular choice. I think for a more boutique-y super Strat feel, you'd be wanting to maybe look at the Larry Carlton. And for more of that rolled fretboard edges, super, comfortable feeling neck. But don't dismiss the Fender Player in terms of comfortability as well and playability. This, as much as there are a couple of issues with it, is playing fantastically well. And I think in terms of looking the part, is really doing that job quite nicely, which is of course the most important thing about playing a Strat, right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I was using Helix Native for the intro there, as well as some kind of direct guitar tones. But if you want to check that out, jump into the Gumroad folder. As well, this has some finish cracking, like at the neck pocket. The Sires, I've never seen that on any of their guitars. So that's, I guess, worth bearing in mind as well. But the Player 2, I think, is a really nice kind of package and really nice looking as well, which I can't get past how good looking it is.